Yeah, it's done it.
Hello, everybody. Just to let you know, we were talking to ourselves. We thought we were live and we weren't, but we're live now. So we've already done the weather. Sorry you didn't hear it. We've already done the introductions. Sorry you didn't hear those. We'll do another quick one. So how you doing, Shelley?
I thought I was doing okay, but obviously not.
That's never happened before.
No, I literally did the countdown, clicked live because you have to click live separately, and it clicked over, but then it didn't actually then go anywhere. And then Dee's message said, "I don't think we're live," and I looked at it, and went, "No, it's actually then showing us scheduled still."
Oh God, that's so funny.
You're warmer now because you're indoors. Warmer now. How you doing, Samara?
I'm great. That was absolutely hilarious. I cannot believe we had that poll to do without the live being on. But I mean, no, I'm good. Thank you. How is everybody?
We're good.
Oh my God.
We're good. How you doing, Nikkei?
Oh, good. Just full of the joys of technology and real life. Good, good. And like I said, I'm with Shelley with the cold. It's just ridiculously cold. It feels colder than the temperature gauge says it is.
Yeah.
100%.
It's cold. It is cold. Although
Yeah.
I had a client this morning that lives in Finland and it's -20.
Okay, all right. We're not cold.
She said she weren't going to go for her walk. I just thought, really?
The
-20?
walk would not have been a consideration if it was
No,
-20
exactly.
here. It would not have even been on the agenda. Talk to us of not going for
Where
it.
would that even come into my mind? It wouldn't. So today we are going to be talking about decluttering and how that has such an emotional pull towards it. And we're also going to be looking at people's mental health. It's January. Are we good to each other? Are we good to ourselves? Yesterday was, what's it called?
Blue Monday.
And that apparently is the worst Monday because you're in the middle of January with no pay because we're not getting paid yet. Christmas and New Year is gone. And yeah, although lots of people book holidays around this time. So
yeah, it was all a PR stunt. What they basically asked someone to do was why would that day come as one of the worst days? So it is a Monday. Naturally, Mondays do tend to be, for anyone that works Monday to Friday, will be a down day. That you're the third Monday in January, so it's not quite payday if you're getting paid at the end. You're so far away from something that's really big as Christmas and New Year. It's a January day, so you're in the middle of winter, and it's darker, and it's normally cold. So in theory, all of those pointers would actually then be it being a down day, which it can be. Winter's necessarily quite often is, but yeah, so it's kind of like a bit of a PR stunt. But as you then said, Sil, it's this particular weekend, this particular gap is when people are booking holidays or looking about holidays, and people are looking at new houses as well. It is a time where people will go out to these new builds and everything else because they've got an open day. It is the looking forward to the year, looking forward to what they're actually going to be doing. So
make those changes if you want to make changes.
Yeah.
Is there, this question has most probably been asked 1 million times. Is there a way to do Christmas without having to get paid early so that January isn't so horrendous?
What does Christmas mean to you in the context of that question? Because I think it is very, very subjective.
I wonder whether there is something that you could take, that your employers could take just a little bit off of each month so that when you then get paid the Christmas or get paid the November, you get that little bit so that your December didn't need to be early? I don't
That's
know.
interesting. So that's a really good question, because I used to be a civil servant and we had the choice. So when I first started working, I'm like, oh yeah, I could get my December pay early. Did it that 1 year, never did it again, because it is just awful. It's nice to have the extra money and stuff like that, but like you said, then you get to, and obviously being a civil servant, you got paid on the last working day. It wasn't even on a day.
Yeah.
So when you had 5 weekends in January after being paid early in December,
Yeah.
so you had the choice. So if you wanted it, you applied for it, and so you were actively making that decision. But I found now, since working in the private sector, you don't have the choice. They
No.
just pay early.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to my line manager about it, and she was pretty much the same as me. And same, I think, as the basis of your question, people should be given the choice. Because some people, just the same way you were saying, if the employer could take a little bit each month and then put it there, some people need that. Or some people might go to Park 24, or, you know, one of those things like the catalogs,
Yeah.
they started advertising them all already. And then some people just want to be autonomous with their funds. It's a very tough question, to be honest, because
and the thing
really
is
and
it's not
truly,
only for people that work. The same thing happens with benefits as well. You know, when
yeah,
depending on when Christmas is going to fall and bank holidays, people will then get their benefits slightly earlier. And it just seems that, you know, we're in 2024 and we are still doing the same thing that's been happening for years. And then everyone, or the majority of people, are still doing the January's awful, I've got hardly any money, got to wait till and we're still doing it. So I don't know, put it out there to people. Just put it out there. If you've got an idea or a thought, then yes, let us know, because I
do
don't.
like the idea. I do like the idea of the employers taking a break, because I remember when I first started working, you could do savings plans through your salary.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just like you just took a little bit of the salary. I think it was called Save As You Earn. I think it came. I could be wrong. I'm not a financial guru or anything like that, because if I was, different conversation. But
I wouldn't need to be talking to the bank manager about the car loan.
exactly. But I do seem to recall, and I believe that that was the precursor to the ISA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I could be wrong, but the point is, they can do it. It can be done, because if you
Yeah.
think about it, debt collectors and stuff, you know, sometimes you get attachment to earners and stuff like that. So if you could do that, you could also do a more benevolent thing where you're helping people to save and stuff. And
so what we can do is we can dedicate another show specifically to finances, budgeting, any of those kind of tips that anybody's got. So if you have any, let us know, and we will then do a show just around that, because budgeting is not easy.
that's
Finance
not.
is not easy, especially in this economy. So we will do a whole show about that. So decluttering, which doesn't mean just the stuff that you've got. It could be anything at all. We had a show November, I think, end of November, and we had a lady on that is a professional declutterer, physically and also emotionally. So she physically
And
goes out and
spiritually,
does,
I
yeah,
remember.
yeah, and she also does that emotional side of it as well. So there's 3 of us on here, and I'm sure Samara does decluttering as well. So there's 3 of us on here who did her 5-day course. why are you squinting like that, Shelley? Was I going to drop you in it or something? There's 3 of us on here.
I'm not turning my camera that way. Let's just put it that way.
And we did the course, and it was done over 5 days, and lots of information.
yeah.
And we've got a WhatsApp. Some lovely person set us up a WhatsApp, and we're talking to each other and we're sharing different tips and things like that. And I said previously, for me, it's really emotional. The stuff that I have and that need to change are all tied into emotions. All tied into emotions. So an example, this is just a simple one. This isn't even an emotion tied into family or anything like that. Each year, I like to go and do a bag of stuff for Noah. I take it down to the Noah shelter itself, which means that anybody who goes in there to get something to eat or training courses or anything like that, they can actually take the stuff rather than it going in the shop. So my quandary then was, do I sell my stuff on somewhere like, can we say names? Vinted.
Yeah, Vinted.
Do I take it to one of those places where you take and it gets weighed and you get £10? Or do I take it to a charity shop? Or do I just do what I normally do? Because somewhere along the line, it was like, well, you could earn some money from this, so sell it online. And then I a whole thing about what do I do.
So when you,
I already know what I'm doing. Go on.
No, okay. If you didn't know, the question I would ask you, because it seems to me, if you already did the Noah thing, so you had a bit of decluttering that was already a side benefit, right? So you took the stuff to Noah, and the side benefit was that you got rid of some clutter, because presuming it was taking up space, so you were not using these things. Or you could flip it around the other way. If the clutter was getting on your nerves and it's disturbing you, you could declutter the place, and then the side benefit could be it goes to one of those other things, and then you would have to go that little bit further to the end. Is that what would be your end goal? I mean, you know, yes, you're doing it already. Sorry, there's a notification. You're doing it already, but I suppose what is going to make you feel better? Because if your end goal is not to make money, then that puts the eBays and the Vintage and the Depops and all of these other things we don't want to be partial to out of the way. And then you've just got to make a decision as to who do you think will get the most benefit. And then that's where you will get the most benefit, because, you know, giving is receiving, etc. That is the question that I would ask based on what you've said there.
And I, yes, and that's the question I then asked myself. And I think where I then got sidetracked was, you know, when people say, oh, you know, when car boots, where people go into car boots, take your stuff to car boot, go and earn some money from what you've got. You know, that's that same thing. So I then kind of got my head caught in that. Whereas actually, I'm going to take them to Noah, because that is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Samara, what do you do with the kids' stuff, all the toys, and as they get older and they then don't play with those anymore?
I've always decluttered. I cleaned the kids' room this morning, just before the show, and I was like, yeah, need to go through these boxes again, and it's only like mid-Jan, and obviously they had Christmas. Araya had her birthday the November, so I'm always getting rid of stuff. But what I like to do, because I've never been someone who's been in I mean, I'm very grateful for the position I'm in, because I've got a roof over my head, I've got warmth, I've got food, you know, and those are the main three things. And I've got 2 loving children, so I'm in a really great position. But I mean, you know, I'm not someone that can just go to like Argos and pick up the most expensive toy, expensive X, Y, Z. I have to save for that 9 times out of 10. So for me, I always have in my mind, I just want to give back to or give to someone who's been in my position or is less fortunate than me. So I've given to places like Toco Youth Space, but, you know, over the years they've supported me. So I was a young parent with them. So, you know, they'd book me for shows and I'd sing at their like care leavers. I was like the main singer for their care leavers events and things like that. So it was I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of vibe with them. Like, and obviously even now, if they ever called me and they needed anything, they know they can do that, and vice versa. I know I could bring them like now and they're like, these guys, could you put, if they can't help directly, they'd put me in the right direction. So I'm always giving back to them. So that's one of the main places. if I sometimes I put up statuses, I'm like, guys, I've got this. Because you know, word of mouth, I've said it before, but not on here. I've said it on another platform, and I've said that word of mouth, I think people really underestimate that. So just putting up saying, hey guys, I've got this going, I don't actually want anything for it. In my position, I wouldn't necessarily be able to drop people anything at the minute because I'm not driving, but I'm like, hey, if you can get to me, or if you can got the means to get it, then fine, you know, kind of thing. Or if I had to ask someone else, then minimum £5 delivery if it's in Luton or whatever, you know, just something like that. But I always like to think that I'd be in a position where no matter where I get in my life, whether it's like this or further than this or whatever, I always want to be in a position to give back, because I've never, and I'm not, I love to be able to say I'm not raising spoiled children either, because they know, they understand even from a young age, you know, mum has to save for that. It's not just something that comes out of thin air. I've been from like February and your birthday's in November for you to get a really expensive present, for example. I'm just giving you just a random time frame, but you know, I think we need to teach our kids as well the importance of these things. And this is another reason why I don't say that Santa gives, I'm so sorry to parents that are listening, but I don't say that.
Spoiler alert, come on, there's a trigger warning.
Whatever you want to call it. I will never tell my kids that Santa got them like anything crazy. I'm so sorry, because I've killed myself up for the past 6 months to get you these things for a man in a beard and a red. Basically, take my credit. You must be crazy. So I'm not.
That's funny. That is so funny.
Kids having like the fantasies and they're excited, and I will never take that magic away from my children. But I'm so sorry, but my friend, he did not get you that.
He didn't get you the big present.
No, but as for decluttering, I think it's very, and I'll speak from the mental perspective as well, because I think that's so important. So I'm the queen of reevaluating things. I'm not a what do you do for me type of person at all, because I don't believe in that either. Because you know, when I'm up, I can't really do much for people when I'm down, if that makes sense, because I need to be picked up. You can't pour from an empty cup. So I don't evaluate my friendships and who I have around me based on what they can do for me physically or in any capacity, really. But for me, I'm about, you know, I'm a solutions type of person. I can sit here and complain. So say, for example, Cecile, I can ring you and say, I'm really sad about this, really upset about this. I can acknowledge that I feel like this. I feel really sad or whatever. I don't want to stay there. But I think as people, we need to acknowledge that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be low. And it's okay. You just need to have that strong desire, or a percentage of 1% of desire to not want to be in that place. And I think if you've got any people in your life that are like, I'm sad, or this is, you know, there's a difference between I'm sad and I'm really low right now, and there's means to change something and you just ain't doing it. There's a clear difference in the two things. But, you know, support those types of people, because they're going to be very strong people in the long run when you've poured into them, you know. And I'm someone who I can say, you know, I've been low. And when I've had people like yourselves and everyone else that I call friends or family to me pour into me, and then I've got this strength, you know, from God himself and from all of you guys, I'm a different person. So I think even decluttering, sadly, down to like people from your life, that is very important. If someone comes to you and complains, like I'm not saying once in a blue moon, like, oh, this is a problem, can you help me? But if every single conversation you're having with someone is a complaint, like, you need to reevaluate that. And I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying.
Can I ask you a question, Samara? Sorry, can I just ask you a question based on what Dee said, because you touched upon it, where you said that, you know, sometimes you can feel low, but you don't want to stay there. So how do you get from that place of being low like that and knowing and having that little window of hope that, you know, that people are going to be able to help you, or you are going to be able to help yourself to get out there?
I think what I love to do, and I think love is a bit of a strong word for this one because it can be a bit heavy, but what I like to do is look back. Sometimes it's good to look back, and I'll tell you what, I've lived, say for example, I used to live in hostels, in and out of hostels from the age of 15. I now live in a nice house that belongs to me and my children. So I could look back and say them hostels were absolutely dreadful, or I lived in a block of flats that are the worst in Luton, and I can hands down say the worst in Luton. I'm going to just say, if you know, you know. I'm not going to say where it is. But if you know, you know, honey. So I can look back at them places and say, wow, bro, like you actually made it through that. So if I can look back at that and say, okay, you got through that, you can get through whatever this is going on. And it's the same with, you know, I've had broken friendships and broken relationships and these things. But then I look back and I think, I've actually lost my mum. She's the woman who gave life to me. So if you're not bearing any greatness, even to like speak words of affirmation to me, that costs nothing. That's absolutely free of charge. If you're not encouraged, if you're constantly problematic, then you just have to weigh it out. But as for like looking, and as for, you know, as for how I handle it, is that like I always look back and think, wow, it could actually be worse because look where you was, kind of thing. And I think we always do that, even in our, if we think we're in our worst position right now, because that's where some people are. Like this is the work. Like when I was in that place that we're not going to name, or like hostels and stuff, that was my worst for me. But then I've come into this life maybe in 2023 where mentally it was probably one of my weakest years mentally. So that's crazy to me, considering, you know, I've had these bereavements and things like that. But it's not just death that makes you low. It's not just losses of, and bereavement isn't just, you don't just grieve people. You can grieve a job, you can grieve yourself. Like, do you know how many times I've actually been grieving over the loss of me, because I've lost me, and I'm a living person. So always thinking about what's the next move, and I always think about my kids. Thankfully I've got my children, because, you know, I've been low enough to think I don't want to be here no more, and I'm happy to disclaim I'm not in that place right now, and I'm grateful for that. But thankfully I've got them sets of brown and whatever colour eyes my daughter has, because to this day I don't know, they just change all the time. But I've got those two sets of eyes that I can look into every single day and just know that regardless, everything's going to be cool, because I've got them. Do you get what I mean? And they have me. And even when I've been sick and my kids are like, you're the best mum in the world, and I'm like, guys, I feel like I've done nothing apart from cook you dinner and wash you and put you to bed and maybe do your reading with you. And to me, that's the bare minimum. But to them, that was everything, even with them knowing that I was sick. So I think for anyone out there that you feel is potentially in your like one of your lowest points of life right now, look back. Sometimes that's when it's healthy to look back and think, okay, but you got through something else that you didn't think you could get through. You was probably in this position before where it's like, I can't get out of this. But you was thinking with that mindset for the last thing, and you're thinking it again. So kind of remind yourself maybe of that, because that's what I do. And I'm like, oh, wow, I got through that. That's crazy. Like, I didn't think I'd get out of that one.
But if you think about when you were ill, say you was only feeling 40%. If you gave 100% of that 40%, you've given 100%.
Yeah, 100%, literally. Yeah,
so
it's true.
You shouldn't, and it is a natural thing to always then sort of belittle yourself and kind of like have a go at yourself and, oh, I've only done X, Y, and Z today. But if you've only could have enough energy or have enough mental capacity, or like, so your physical body or your mental health was only going to give you 10, 20, 30, 40%, and you still gave that 10, 20, 30, 40%, you still gave 100%.
100% of your time, or of your emotion.
What you actually could do. Yeah.
Because I always gave my 100% to everything, considering I maybe did have like 20. You was very generous, Shelley, with 40%. Because I was at like 12 or minus at one point. Seriously, I was really in the trenches when I was really sick. Like, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. And it just to think this was only like last week, the week before. Because I think it was the first show, one of the first shows we
last
had.
Week.
Last week. Was I off camera that day?
Yeah.
Oh my days, guys, you didn't want to see what I looked like. I was saving you guys from seeing like the state of me last week. I was really unwell. I was in bed on the live talking to you all, and I just was mash up, honestly. But that's just a week. So this is a new week. This is a Tuesday. And you know, it's mindset too. Like you were speaking about Monday, and I always look at a Monday as a chance for a fresh start of a new week. That's what I look. And I never used to, especially when I was in school. Oh my days, I was like, now Monday is dread. Like, I don't like Mondays, but it's a chance for me. So I've had a whack week maybe last week, and then I get to reset over the weekend with the children and do things with them. And then Sunday is church, whether I watch it online or I'm physically there in person, especially because I've been ill, so I've been more online at the minute. And then it's like, okay, cool, let's go. Monday. It's a new week. It's a fresh start. Like, always try it. That's like penalising Mondays. Try and flip it and look at it as, okay, it's a whole fresh new week. We can do something different. We can change our mindsets. We can do something new this week, you know.
And what Dia said about reminding people, you know, every week that you've got to be kind to yourselves as well as others, but you need to be kind to yourself. So if Monday comes along, then just say, this week I'm going to be like this, because literally I've only got 40%, so I'm just going to give my 40%. You know, and I think one of the things you said about bereavement is not just about somebody who has died or one of your pets that have died. It could be the loss of a job, the loss of a friend, somebody you're not talking to at the moment, or they're not talking to you, or whatever. It could be the loss of a piece of jewelry that you've lost in the house. It could be anything, and that is loss.
We've got lots of experiences as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what part of when grief can hit you at different times. So if you are grieving someone, you could be perfectly fine, but then you'll get a time where we would have done that together or whatever, and it will just it's sort of even to the point of you lose a friendship or something, but there was something that you then did together. You're going to have that grief of losing it's that experience, it's that whatever it happens to be. I've always, as I've grown, as we've kind of grown up, and I suppose it was because I had a lot of people with disabilities and stuff around me. It was, okay, you had a bad day. That doesn't make it a bad week. You had a bad morning at work, go off, reset. You could have a good afternoon. If you're feeling down that day, you're allowed to feel down, because you're going to feel down. Allow yourself to feel it, but don't set up camp there. It's like you go off, you have those feelings, you have that good cry, or you have that anger. And I've always been one for, and let anger come out as part of your grief as well. Because it's the easiest emotion to get to. You always be angry before you start feeling anything else. So quite often the anger comes out and then the grief will come out afterwards. Just let it all come out. Have that time, but then know, okay, that's fine. I've had that time. Whatever you've decided to then say, that's just right off for today, that's fine. Or whether it's, I'm just going to have this morning to myself, having a good cry, and then it will get it over and done with, and I'll reset myself for tonight, kind of thing. It's feel it. Don't try and run away from it. Feel it, but don't stay there.
No, but give it the time that it needs. It deserves. Because I think with, again, as a fast-paced society, we're moving along all the time. So some people, and whatever it is that their bereavement is about, whether it is, you know, a person or a job or whatever, people want to move you on. They want to move you on. Want to see that smile on your face. So they don't want you to stay in that. And they're going to try whatever they can to make, you know, oh, I can help you. Da, da, da. You have to grieve for the amount of time that you need to grieve. Yours is different to mine. Mine is different to Nico's. Samara's is different to all of us. We have to just give it that time. And then you can step out of it.
I also think if you try and quicken that process for yourself, you'll end up back at square one anyway. And I've been so many. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. So I feel very low today. Fine. And then, it's funny because Shelley said something, but I always looked at anger as a secondary emotion for me personally, because I've always felt something else before anger, and then I'm angry because of that thing. So I'm sad because something has happened between me and someone else, and then I become angry because I just can't believe they did that to me. Do you know what I mean? So that's just me personally. But yeah, I just feel like don't ever rush how you feel, like rush that process, because And first and second of all, who is anybody to tell you how to grieve and how to deal with things? Because we're all different. I mean, God made us in his image, yes, but he made us very different. Our fingerprints are different. My hair strands are very different to yours. So naturally we're gonna perform differently, we're gonna act differently, we're gonna digest, we're just gonna be different because we're meant to be different. I don't want to be like any of you, because I love you all.
Oh,
but I
thank
don't
you.
like,
Thanks a lot.
Sometimes I think it's sometimes I think it's just understanding.
we have so much to offer as Cecile, as Shelley, as Nike, as Samara, as individuals. If I try to be like this world don't need two Samaras. Lord Jesus, it really doesn't. Like, so Cecile, you don't have to be Samara. Like, you get what I mean? Like, just walk and embrace who you are, because and just go through the motions. That's what I say, because I noticed with last year was a pattern I was doing. So I'd come on the show, like for example, I'll use this show as an example. I'd come on the show, hey guys, and then I'm off for like 8 weeks, and then hey guys, and then I'm off for like 12. And it's because I felt okay for that day, but I was suppressing it because I felt like I was letting you guys down. And this is just an example. I was doing it with so many other things as well. But this show is an absolute prime example, because if you go back to last year, I was barely here. Like, no one really saw me. And it was because I was just trying to quicken it and fasten it and speed up the process just so you guys could have me back. But actually, it made it worse, because then I was gone for a lot longer than if I just allowed the emotions to just run their course, and go through what I needed to go through.
So how do you get away from that? Oh, sorry.
No.
I was just going to ask how you... Go on.
Shelley.
No. All I was going to say was, it's because I'm around so many people that are autistic, it's when you try and get someone that's autistic that wants to stim, that wants to release, so whether that's the humming, the clicking, the jumping up and down or whatever, the more you suppress it, the more it bubbles up. Like can of Coke, bottle of pop.
Yeah.
It's shook. And it's if you try and compress it, it will come out worse.
Worse,
You've got to have, whether it be stress, whether it be grief, whether it be your mental health, you've got to have that little pressure cooker kind of release. Small times, because if you try and suppress it, they then just explodes.
Explodes. Whereas if you do little,
but
Nike?
I was just going to ask how you navigate around those people who are, let's just, for better sake, well-meaning people who just think, oh, come on, it's going to be okay. And obviously they're impeaching on your bereavement time, or the time where you just want to be, where you're trying to recuperate. How do you kind of get around there? Because then in my head, I'm thinking you could end up creating another situation that's
I've had a fair few of those situations where it's like, I'll snap out of it, and it's like, if I could right now and it just all go away, do you not think I would choose that option? Like, that annoys me and frustrates me when you get, and even it's like, have you ever told an angry person to calm down? How silly do you have to be to tell an angry person to calm down? Because that is at the highest of the heights of emotion. Because like I said, how I look at things is, you feel something, then you're angry, and then when you get to anger, it takes quite a bit to get someone back down to planet Earth. So to tell someone to calm down when they're angry is like telling someone to snap out of something when they're in the darkest hole in their person. Remember, my dark hole is my dark hole. Yours is completely going to look completely different. This is why I don't compare each other's lives and each other what we've been through, because if I was, I dealt with what I've dealt with, but you would deal with it differently. It doesn't mean that I've dealt with it wrong and you've dealt with it better. It just means the capacity and with the knowledge I may have had or whatever. But for me, how I deal with them people is, you see your shoes, you tie them. Yeah, they're your shoelaces to be tied. I'm tying my own and I'm walking.
Oh my God!
That's how I deal with them.
Samara!
I can't deal. I'm so sorry. I cannot deal. I will never pretend that I can walk better in your shoes than you.
No,
and
but
people
That's why
Wow.
that's why I was emphasizing on the people who mean well. I'm not talking about the people who are just so blasé and can't be bothered with people. Oh yeah, just get over it. I was really talking about the people who genuinely care for you and just don't know what they're doing by saying things like that.
Say that they mean well, you know, there's a thin line between that too, especially if the person knows you and knows that if a person loves you and knows you enough to love you to that capacity, they should then know how you deal with things. So for me, I'm very, very, very thin. The thinnest line you can think of is a very thin line between someone who genuinely cares and then there's someone that's just like trying to add fuel to fire, in my personal opinion. I'm like, just go with the motions, mate. We've all got our own shoes for a reason. We've got our own laces to look at. Stop looking at everyone else's.
I like that. Tie your own laces.
They don't say it.
I think the thing is exactly what you said, Tamara, is those people that are, like you said, Nico, the close ones who may not know what to do for the best. Those are the people that you can then say, when I'm ready, I'll message you. When I'm ready, I will be in touch. And they're the ones that will then take that step back. They might drop a message every now and then just to let you know that they are there, but they will then wait for you. Those other ones are the ones you don't answer. Because the day and age we're in now, people very rarely just turn up at your doorstep. There's a phone call, there's a message, there's something. Don't answer them. If they're those ones, just don't answer them.
Yeah.
Answer, you know, your ones that you have, they will know. They will know when you need them, and they will then be okay. The rest, you just don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Sorry, say if you see me looking down at any point, it's because I'm actually on the show on my other phone because I can't see comments on our screen currently. So
right, yeah.
I don't
that's a good idea. I don't blame you because I fell off once.
I'm just trying to keep it like trying to stay involved here. Oh God.
So ultimately, if you think about it, what we've been talking about here, where I don't even know where this went, but it went where it needed to go. But that can go right back to that decluttering, because those people
100%.
that are doing that well, you know, I know what you should be doing and you need to be doing this. They're the ones you declutter and take out of your life, or you declutter to a stage where they're only your every now and then friends. They're the ones that you see, you know, you do not give all of that energy that you give to other people. And we have to learn to say no. We have to learn to say no. We don't. We're not society. We don't say no, do we?
No.
And we need to say no. I don't have the energy for that today. I'm really sorry. I can't do that. We have to say that.
I'm sorry.
Samara says no. I know she does.
No, do you know what? Okay, I've actually, I know it's very like polite, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'm just looking at it different. Maybe you guys can put me in my place. But I've actually stopped apologizing for small things like falling asleep, like, and things like that. Because when I think about it, like when I think about how my sleep patterns have been, I'm like, I'm not saying sorry for that. And little things.
Yeah, but why would you say sorry? Sorry for doing
I just said that. That's what I just said. I said I haven't got the energy for that today. I'm sorry. And you're right. You don't need to say sorry. You don't need to say sorry at all.
If there's not something you want to engage in as well, because there's some things, you know, say for example, say I've got a friend called Lucy. I don't have a friend called Lucy, that's why I can use the name. So Lucy, I'm not shouting anyone out or calling out Lucy. Say I've got a friend called Lucy and she's going through something, and for example, it triggers me. Okay, this is another thing people don't talk about enough. It's a trigger for me. So say for example, Lucy's going through, this is a very big topic, so I can say about it, trigger warning, guys, a domestic abusive relationship, and it's something that you've tried to get Lucy to get out of. But with things like that, it's not something you can take your friend out of. They have to get to this place where it's like, okay, it's time to go. You never, I'm just letting you know, and that's to anybody out there that's got a friend, a sister, a brother, even, because domestic abuse is towards men as well. Let's not forget that. There's victims of domestic abuse in men too, but you can never get them out, pluck them out of it yourself. They have to get to that place. But say if you've got a friend called Lucy and she's like, oh, can you help me with this? So I'm in court for this, and but you was in that position 2 years ago, that could be a trigger to you. Even if 10 years ago. So you're well within your rights to say to Lucy, actually, honey, I can't be at that court hearing because that's going to awaken things that I've taken these past 2 years to get myself to this, and I'm going to take myself backwards. So even things like that doesn't make you a rubbish friend at all. That doesn't make you any less of a friend, because I've been in that position where something's triggered me, for example, and then I've not been able to be that friend, quote unquote, to my. But I've had to look at it as, actually, I'm saving the two of us and I'm saving our friendship, because if I'd gone into, you could go into a place of, this is like worst case, but like resentment, because your friends allowed you to live it twice. Do you get what I mean? So even things like that, don't allow anybody to make you feel like any less, or a sister or an auntie, uncle, brother, cousin, because you can't do something either.
Okay, so
I think it goes back to
no, I just want to do quick two things. So there is going to be a Lucy that you don't remember from school who's going to be sitting thinking, oh, is she talking about me? It's not you, Lucy from school. It's not you.
If there's a Lucy from school, I'm not talking about you, honey. I promise. Okay? We probably weren't even friends in school. We were probably just acquaintances.
And the other thing I want to say is happy birthday, Robson. How are you doing? Glad to see you here
happy
today.
birthday, Robson.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday, Robson.
But Samara, it goes back to what you said at the top of the show, is that at the end of the day, when you have a valued friendship, it's not based on what that person is giving you. You don't be friends with somebody just because they do this A, B, and C. I'm pretty much the same, but you can still attract people who do operate on a transactional basis. So they're the ones who will take offense when you say, oh, sorry, I can't come to that court case with you. Oh, sorry, actually, being in the gynecological ward kind of triggers the fact that A, B, and C. They're the ones who probably wouldn't get it.
I feel like that's why I'm very grateful for things like discernment, though, because you can discern things like, for me.
Oh, you'd be surprised. That's what I used to think.
People always, but I feel like my discernment, thank God, has been quite sharp, more recent. Because for me, you do have to look at, don't be a friend that's a transactional friend or transactional daughter, because it can happen in families as well, like transactional daughter, mother, father, uncle, auntie. It can happen across the border. So it's not just friends, but that's clearly where we're skating towards at the minute. But I just think we need to kind of figure out how to maybe sieve those people out. But it is down to things like, do the people, how I look at it is, we all pay a phone contract, right? And to me, it doesn't charge me any extra. Even if it did, I'd still do it. But it doesn't charge me any extra to message Cecile to say, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? Especially knowing that she's not okay right now, quote unquote, right? So that's what I love to use that line on people. Do you know that it doesn't cost you any more to message me to say, how are you doing? It's not going to charge you extra on your contract. That's how I look at things. And that doesn't cost anybody anything. So am I transactional financially? Am I transactional by what someone can give me? No. But to know that I was on somebody's mind, and please, guys, start doing it. If someone's on your mind, don't just say, oh, I was thinking about you last week. Do it. As soon as they're on your mind, there's clearly a reason for that. And 9 times out of 10, when you do finally message that person on cue, you will know, because they'll come back to you with, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you messaged me. X, Y, and Z. So please start being these types of people, because I'm speaking for me as well. Don't just have someone cross your mind and then in 2 weeks they message you and you're like, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago football. So why didn't you message me then?
Yeah.
Can I just say, the reason why you wasn't here last year is because you were supposed to be here this year, because you said more in these last 2 weeks than you've done the whole of last year. You needed to have that time for you to come back this year, and just share all of that. That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Appreciate that, because I feel like I learned so much in my absence, because there was so much going on, mentally and things, and I had to learn very quickly, and the importance of saying no. So being able to say all of these things and being on the receiving end and not being on the receiving end of messages like, how are you? Because that was a lot of that last year, and me being as low as I was and still being able to be the one to send messages out to say, how are you? Like, are you okay? Like, is everything good for you? Like, what's going on? What's new? You know, like, there's so much I've learned. So I'm so grateful, and I'm so glad that I did take the time out. And this is why it's important. And it's also important that for you to surround yourself with people that, you know, have your best interest at heart. Because I think I shared it last week where I said, you know what, you're a great team of people. Because I've been in things in the past, maybe when I was like 15, 16, and been mentally low, and then I've had to be removed from group chats and things like that. And that didn't happen. You know, like, so I'm just letting you guys know, if people are removing you from group chats and people are like dismissing you because you're mentally not okay, you need new friends and new family members. I'm just going to put that clear to you, because not once did these ladies say, Samara's not been on the show for 12 weeks. Yeah, she's got to go. See you later. Not one time. They checked in. They've, you know, told me to take time out to focus on myself, to focus on my kids. They not once penalised me for being away. And it shows, because I'm back and I'm happy to be back, because I had
She's
the
on
support.
fire.
What? Who's saying that? See what I mean? Need the phone. You can't see comments.
No.
Right, okay. Dee's put, can I ask you a question?
Who a question?
But I'm not going to, I'll just ask you a question, yes. When you say you're back, when you say you're fully up for it.
Yeah.
Oh!
How would you feel about our next big thing coming up? Well, after our launch party, we haven't really talked about that, but yeah. Our first event of the year is always International Women's Day.
Love it.
We've got booked in Luton Hat Factory, 9th of March.
Come on, Shelley, hurry up.
Talk to me, Shelley.
How would you feel about being the compere of the day?
What, hosting it?
Hosting.
Yes!
I'd love to host International Women's Day. Woo! Guys, you're going to love it. You're going to love it with me. Make sure you get your tickets now, guys. Come on. Oh, guys, I'd love that. Honestly, I'd absolutely love that. I've never have I hosted? Oh yeah, years ago. Like, well, I'm hosting now, but I'm saying like a show outside. I've never hosted anything for a long time. That would be well fun. I'm well excited.
Anyone that's watching that hasn't come along to our events or anything before, we always do International Men's Day. We do like health and wellbeing days and everything else. International Women's Day is always one that it's open to everyone. Mm-hmm. We always have our Women's Day and our Men's Day open to the opposite sex as well, because we're all in it together. We're talking about women and empowering women and helping women, but it includes the whole family. It includes everyone around you. So as we were saying earlier on, it's about who you actually want as your family.
Yeah.
And our little community is a family.
It is.
It is an actual family. We're all different backgrounds, all different ages.
What am I going to wear? Like,
oh, jokes. What are you going to wear? Oh, my Lord, Jesus Christ.
What jokes am I going to wear? No, I'm joking. No, honestly, guys, I really appreciate that. I'm so excited. I'm well excited. Thanks, guys.
In the next weeks, or the next week, I think, if Dee has a way, it will actually have the link to purchase tickets. It is always that the ticket prices are never reflect exactly what you get on the day.
Yeah, that's true.
If it was a big, huge conference hall and yet you got all this money and everything going into it, we will always have monetary value put on it that's way lower than what you actually get on the day. It's partly community, it's partly what you learn, the people that are there, the information that's provided for you. Mm-hmm. And it literally, we don't take any money from any of our events that's not going to go back into the business of putting on these events for everyone in the community. So yes, there will be that's on there. And part of that, we've actually still got our membership program. We happen to have an awesome launch party, and there is only, as it's ticked over, I think there's now 22 tickets left.
Oh, wow.
There's only 22 tickets. Only 22 tickets.
I got mine.
Sorry, can I ask a question, actually? Can you pay for membership even though you're not going to this thing? Because some people can't attend, i.e. myself. I want to know. I don't want to know.
Well, this is for this first membership, so you can actually have a membership at any point after the event as well. This is just then giving you the tickets for actually then coming along to the launch party. But we'll be doing the membership all the way through. And what our membership is really is like we're not selling a product as such. We are offering our expertise as putting on events, getting people together like this on social media. If there's a project that you want to launch yourself, as in coming on this show, promoting what you're doing in the community, it's all of that we're promoting as our membership. And it will never be a really expensive membership, because it is just putting that bit of money into our events, but it's putting your experience into our events too. It's creating a community rather than trying to sell you X, Y, and Z. That some of these memberships are out there. By us having these kind of events kind of going on, we're able to provide bigger and better bits for the community around us. And one of these days, it will be an actual physical hub. Put it out there.
It will.
Come true.
But we're starting off with a 112-seater screening, private screening of The Colour Purple. Check that out.
Also, just say as well, when you go to like a Simply D's event, right, you're paying a really good price for your ticket, because I've been to like International Men's Days, Women's Days. I've taken part and then I've not taken part. And either way, it's like you're getting some nuggets, some gems, drops on you.
Yeah.
To be honest, you're just very blessed to be paying certain prices that you pay for your tickets to get the blessings that you get from these shows, because there's going to come a time where it's going to be really difficult for you to get hold of the same speaker that you may hear, or the same, or the opportunity may not come again, you know. So I always am a strong believer in just saying, especially because it's our community, we're Luton, and I just want to say now, because we've said it before, I think it was something that we did last week, I forgot what it was called, the lockdown chat that we had. I was
Life
on
in a lockdown Zoom.
Life in lockdown, yes, yeah.
And I said, look, we kind of need to put Luton on the map in a better way, because 9 times out of 10, it's always negative news that spreads fast first, and there's so much positivity that's happening in Luton. This show alone and this platform alone being one of them, and I just think it just, all the positive stuff just needs to just be oozing now, because there's just so much in Luton. And people are like, oh, Luton. Even when I tell people I live in Luton, there was a time I started saying Bedfordshire because I didn't want to say Luton. There was a time, I'm just being really honest with you. Don't worry, I don't do that now, unless it's just to protect because obviously I'm funny with people. I think you still have to be very wary of who you tell where you live as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's why I say Bedfordshire 9 times out of 10. But before, I used to say Bedfordshire because I was actually ashamed of Luton at a point. Not now, but there was a time. But now I'm so proud to say I'm from Luton, because there's so much going on here. There's so much positivity home, and there's so much talent. There's so much creativeness. There's so many great people and great opportunities. We just need to push them more, I think, somehow, because there's so much going on.
I get very angry, and I do get angry when people talk about Luton in that disrespectful way. I'm born and bred here, and big up Luton Robson. If somebody has something to say, I am very quick to anger, and people know me, and that's not necessarily the type of person that I am, but when you talk about the town that I live in and I've been born in, I get very defensive, because what goes on here happens everywhere. It's not just Luton.
I think it's also the problem. It's a little bit of that. I think it's laziness, you know, because we're drip fed. Like Samara said, bad news spreads quicker, but also the way it spread, the route to which it spread, and sometimes because we live these fast-paced lives, we forget to think. So, you know, you see the headline and you're like, oh God, you know, without, like you said, remembering that that headline could be transported to any other town, city in the UK, because it's just easier. It's the same method of operation for every single thing that is a topic in the world at the moment. It's just really, like Samara said, it's up to us to use our critical thinking, to use our discernment and not just go with what we are being fed, because there's an agenda. If people are going about saying, "Oh, Luton is this," "Oh, this is where this pass," etc., etc., from Luton, there's a reason why it's being said. It's not just random people waking up one morning and just saying that. It's so yeah. I think, like they said, it's our community, and we have to be more discerning and promote the good things.
Yeah. The way that I've always said, whenever people say, "Oh yeah, you hit the news again because of X, Y, and Z," and it's like, yes, because we have got, and I'm happy to have so many different communities, so many different backgrounds from years and years and years back. Luton has always been in the news because we have got so many different communities, and it's so many things that are happening, which is why we hit the news. If you was to go to a nice little quiet little village, yeah, okay, that you wouldn't get anything kind of like going on. But because you happen to be in Luton, there's a lot going on, because there's a lot of our communities that are actually putting stuff on.
Yeah, but yeah.
And what I said to someone when we was walking through Berry Park, and I said, if I was to go to your town, because she kept saying how much of the different smells was fantastic. I said, if I was to go to your town, we would just go for an Indian. I'm taking you through Berry Park, and I could offer you a Caribbean curry. I could offer you an Indian curry, Kashmiri. It could be any range, and it all tastes different if you know it.
Yeah.
But for you, I could just go to your town and just have a curry, a random curry.
See, that's why I need to come to Luton, because there's lots there. So Nika's got to leave us because she's overrun her stay in her little booth.
Bye, everybody. Bye. I'll have that celebration of having Samara back on camera. Mwah. Later. All right.
The time has just gone really, really quickly. You know, we've been here for absolutely ages now. So we've talked about a lot. We've shared a lot. There's been a lot there, and we will come back to it again. But just remember, get your tickets for our Colour Purple showing on the 26th of January. Get your tickets, launch party. Don't miss. There's only 22 left. Literally only 22 left. So you want your membership, you need to get that ticket. There you go. And then obviously come next week and the following weeks after that, we'll be talking about International Women's Day and our new host for International Women's Day 2024, the lovely Cinderella. You haven't got long to decide what you got to wear, okay? Because we're January now. March is going to just come along quickly.
Yeah.
So you need to know what you're wearing.
Like, guys, inbox me on Instagram, please, with some ideas.
Are we gonna? Yeah. So if you have an idea of what Samara needs to wear, just inbox her.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we can do a little bit of a fashion show via our WhatsApp to see what you can wear. But it's anybody got anything they want to share with us, just let us know. If you're watching it on catch up, let us know. Any thoughts about January and life, just life in general, and bereavement, and anything at all, just let us know. We are out of here now before we're here for another hour. Yes, so we're out of here now. Catch up with you all again next week, same time, 12 noon. See you then. Bye everybody.
See you later.
Let's see if it ends like